I'm hoping my voice holds out. It's been 3 weeks since I've been nursing this cold and cough. Last week I canceled 3 or 4 masses. So after my 8 a.m. mass, I said no to the 3 others. Today I 4 masses again, and my performance this morning will dictate on whether I will have to give up the 3 others today. I never realized how important it is for me as a preacher, as a teacher, as a counselor, as a speaker to lose one's voice. I feel disenfranchised when I lose my voice because my bread and butter comes from speaking and preaching and teaching. And I had several big talks the past 2 weeks. I just had to grit it and bear it, grin and bear it, and I succeeded. A little review of the 3 readings. The first reading from Ezekiel tells us how Ezekiel made a defense against the common accusation that we also ourselves hear. The Lord's way is not fair. Well, we see it in a slightly different way, but it also means the same at bottom. Life is not fair. We always hear that from American speakers. Life is not fair. It's just one little step away from saying God is not fair. And yet Ezekiel tells us, anyone who snaps out of the wrong thing he has done, Ezekiel assures us, in God's name, he shall surely live, he shall not die. In the second reading, Paul's letter to the Philippians tells us what we need to snap out of anything unsavory, ungodly, and uncalled for. And he says, we need to follow the example of Christ, who, although he was God, shed off his divinity, self-emptied himself, that's kenosis, and then became one like us. We need humility. We need acceptance. We need to go a little lower than our pretended sense of self-importance. In the gospel, we are told a story, a parable about who we are and what we are like. A man had 2 sons. Such a beautiful start of a story, because the start of that story tells us that we are in common cause with God, that God is like us in all things, Christ in all things, except sin. A man had 2 sons, and the father told both, go and work in the fields. The first son told him what the father wanted to hear. Yes, Father, I will go. Maaga po sa alas 4. Gagawin ko ayon sa inyong sinasabi. Pero hindi pumunta. Yung pangalawa, kulang sa good manners and right conduct. Punta ka anak sa ubasan at magtrabaho ka. Ayoko nga, bala ka dyan. Ganyan ang sagot ng maangil na bata. Umangil na, hindi pa sumunod. Pero ang kagandahan dito ay never give up on people who seem to be acting wrongly. Because the second son, who after making angil to his father, thought better, thought otherwise, and began to do what his father really wanted. The other one, who was only saying good things that the father needed to hear, was obviously lying. He did not intend to go, but he had very, very positive words to say. Bahala ako dyan, tatay. Asahan niyo ako at gagawin ko yan. Pero walang ginawa. The story is about you and me. It's a story about us. A story about us human beings who may either be too pleasing. And we always say, tama ka dyan. May mga taong pagkausap mo, ay tama ka dyan, correct ka dyan. Lagi mag-a-agree sa iyo, except that after you leave, he will talk against what you said with his own little group in Facebook. So the story is about you and me, a story of somebody who means more than what he really means, and a story of one guy who refuses in the beginning, but then began to do what was really expected of him. The former did not change his mind. He had no mind to change. He had only good words to say about everybody in front of him. He was a pleaser, and he didn't have to change his mind. There was no mind to change right from the very start. His mind was made up. I will not serve. I will not do what the Lord wants me to do. He did not want really to work. But the second was taken up by a momentary lapse of disobedience, a momentary rebellion, an act of disobedience, a streak of non-compliance. And the son said, "Ayoko nga, I will not do it." Only fools, they say, do not change their minds. Today we have the story of the second son, which may well be the story of all of us. We are all fools because we do what we want, and we always say no to good. Our first response to the call of the good, not me. Meron pa ang mga batang ngayong salita na hindi naiintindihan ng mga foreigners. Don't me. Wag ako. Wag ako. Translated, don't me sa social media. But then, that son, disobedient as he was, rebellious as he was for a start, was really one who knew what it means to live rightly and do things the right way. He changed his mind. And he was not a fool. He changed his mind for the better. The wise always think better. The fools always think everything hook, line, and sinker. Ang mahirap ngayon, the other day I was snooping into a speech of a young man. He was talking about ChatGPT, AI, artificial intelligence. He was apparently at that point when I passed by, speaking the glories of ChatGPT. I was cringing as I listened, because as a teacher over the past 47 years, I am terribly afraid of ChatGPT. You assign a term paper, and within seconds they have a 14-page term paper, well written, grammatically correct, and I, as a grammar Nazi, will be very satisfied. The only thing is, I have a lot of questions about the content, because ChatGPT only takes the lowest common denominator with what is available online. And what is available online is a simplification, oftentimes an oversimplification of very complex realities, like human behavior. You cannot reduce them to the least common denominator. Every human person is unique. Every one of us has got dreams and ambitions. Every one of us has got our own definition of what it means to be good. But ChatGPT AI cannot reduce God to the lowest common denominator, cannot reduce our faith to one-liners. This is the whole problem of wokeist ideology. And that is why, as a teacher for all of 48th year now, I feel mortally afraid of students who argue with me on the basis of not what they have read. In terms of voluminous research works, but they have consulted Mr. Google, and on the basis of the summary given by Mr. Google and Mr. Facebook, they argue with me like as if they knew, like as if they belonged, like as if they are experts. And I'm mortally afraid of this. So, when Chester Cotton was asked, what is wrong with the world, he didn't bat an eyelash and answered right off, I am. What is wrong with the world? I am. What humility, what self-acceptance, what brilliance, what intelligence. What is wrong with the world? I am. Nowadays in social media, it's the NATO, it's the satanic West. Putin blames everybody except himself. And this Nokor blames everybody except himself. It's all the work of Satanic West. It's all the work of the democratic countries. But they never see their fault. So, G.K. Chesterton's answer, what is wrong with the world? I am. We need to answer GPT is dangerous because taking everything as the least common denominator and summarizing what is in the cloud, what young people are saying in Facebook and TikTok and WhatsApp and social media. You've got a God created in man's image and likeness, not the eye joyful and hopeful. Why? Two sons, son of the same father. One said, I will do it, but never did. The other said, ayoko nga, bala kayo dyan, but then thought better and did the right thing. Today, we are invited by the Lord to cultivate wisdom. And what is that wisdom all about? Let us learn from the two sons. That is really the story of you and me. We often say and claim things we are not, or never do, or can never claim to be who we are. We boast, we tell lies, we refuse the truth. We also are impulsive. We say we will do it but forget to. But then the prayer of the humble man is the prayer we answered after the first reading. Remember your mercies, O Lord. When we are tempted to say, ayoko nga, we pray, remember your mercies, Lord. When we are tempted to say, bahala ako dyan, ako bahala dyan, matulog na lang kayo ng mahimbing at gagawin ko. Remember your mercies, Lord. It takes humility to ask for mercy. It takes self-acceptance to accept that we have sinned. It takes truth, acceptance of truth to know that we need to shape up. But for God, as the first reading tells us, what is past is past. Remember your mercies, Lord. When we think we are hopeless because we always keep on sinning and repeat the same sins over and over again, and we are tempted to say, I am what is wrong in the world, we pray, remember your mercies, O Lord. What is good about life with God? That is our question today. Well, my answer is, God is. You are. I am. We all are.